Hello, everybody. It is me, Seven Panuma. I hope all of you are doing well. So today, I want to have an open chat with targeted individuals out there. So, if you're a targeted individual and you want to come on here and share your experience, and maybe we can figure out some solutions if you have problems with any of your gang stalking related issues. Now, I made a mention before that it's important for TIs to watch the local news. And the reason for that is because the local news will bring you back to reality. Based on my personal experience, when gang stalking was constantly on my mind, I was living in a state of trance. And I was out of touch with what was going on around me. And whenever I watch the local news, it just brings me right back into reality. It brings me back. It makes me feel better. I have no idea why, because the news are usually negative stuff. But watching the local news, it just brings me right back into reality, brings me back into what's going on, the current events. And it helps me as a TI. So I highly recommend all TIs out there to watch your local news. Try it out. And let me know by commenting if you think it does anything to you. Hopefully it's positive. I want to play a segment of this news on Russia, talk about nuclear weapon and what the US are going to do if that happened. And I think it'll be interesting to talk about these current events. So I will play this 3-minute news clip of what the U.S. said if Russia will use nuclear weapon and so on. So it's only 3 minutes. I will play it now.
After Russian President Vladimir Putin issued a thinly veiled nuclear threat, U.S. officials sending a message of their own.
If Russia crosses this line, there will be catastrophic consequences for Russia. The United States will respond decisively.
That warning coming the same weekend that outrage, fear, and brutality swept cities across Russia. Protesters railing against Putin's new call to send hundreds of thousands of reservists to the front lines. The response growing violent. At an enlistment center in eastern Russia today, a man shot the military commissar at point-blank range. A growing number of Russian men trying to dodge those draft orders any way they can. This man fled to Finland, which has open borders.
I'm afraid to be mobilized. I don't want to participate in this war.
And in Russian-occupied areas of Ukraine, what the West is calling a sham referendum. Russian soldiers monitoring ballot boxes and the local population terrified that should Russia illegally annex their cities, they could be forced to the front lines to fight against their homeland. NBC News has spoken to one person living in occupied Kherson who describes total fear and panic. Everyone is planning their way out, they told us, although men aged 18 to 35 are not being allowed to leave. The potential land grab and mobilization of reservists meant to bolster Russian forces after Ukraine's effective counteroffensive in the northeast. Inside this bombed-out Ukrainian church near the destroyed town of Izum, a clear sign the Ukrainians have Russian troops on the run. The Russians used this church as a staging area and field hospital. They left behind stretchers, boxes. It's very clear looking around here that when they left, they left in a hurry. And with Russians on the defensive, there are growing concerns about what they might do next and what the U.S. response might be. U.S. officials say the specific consequences of a potential Russian nuclear strike on Ukraine have been communicated to the Kremlin in private. Savannah.
Aaron McLaughlin for us in Ukraine. Aaron, thank you.
Okay, so if you want to join in on this, great. The link is in the comment section. So I think this is what I think. I think this is just, there are big players in this world, and those are the top dogs, the big countries. And Russia and US, obviously, they're the two of the top dogs. And these two top dogs are not going to go to war with each other. They love to play the good cop, bad cop. They love it. And it works. And that is why the US will not go to war directly with Russia, but they'll supply to Ukraine. And if those two countries goes to war, that will destroy the entire world's economy. Well, temporarily. And obviously China is one of those countries as well. It's not going to go to war with the US. It's just fear. They're just talking fear and putting fear into people. And the way I see how Ukraine is in the middle of this situation is Russia believes Ukraine belongs to Russia because before the Soviet Union collapsed, Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union. And now that Ukraine is no longer part of the Soviet Union, it does not want to be part of Russia. But Russia sees Ukraine as part of Russia. And I watched a video from TNT Storm. She mentioned how Russia just wants a trade line, a trade route. And Ukraine don't want to do that because by doing so, then Ukraine will become part of Russia. That's how Russia would see it. And Ukraine wants to be part of the UN. But the NATO, the UN, they want Ukraine, but then Russia wouldn't allow it. And since Ukraine don't want to be part of Russia and don't want to give up the trade deal, the trade route, so it's no choice but kind of stuck in the middle. You see what I'm saying? Because Ukraine can't go to NATO, Russia will not allow it. And Ukraine do not want to make deals with Russia because that just means they'll be joining Russia, just like the Soviet Union. And they don't want that. So Ukraine's kind of stuck, and Russia just wants to go in there and take it. And this war is just so baloney. It's baloney to me because, I mean, if you're from Ukraine and you're listening to this, I'm sorry, but I have to state the facts. I mean, Russia can just go in there and take it. I mean, Ukraine have no chance. And it's strange to me that Russia is not doing what it needs to really go to war, because this is not war to me. It's not war. It's almost like a cat and mouse, like a kiddie's game, because war is real war. Ukraine will have no chance. So what they're doing now is just, it's really, to me, it's just BS. It's just causing fear in society. Think about it. If Russia really wants to, they can just 7 days straight, 2 weeks straight, constantly bombing all the logistics routes, any truck routes, any importing of any supplies, just bomb all those routes. Can constantly keep bombing cities for a whole month. But how come Russia is not doing that? and they're actually sending ground troop. When I would imagine the modern day warfare, there would be a lot of drones, suicide or bombing drones, just flies in there and blows up. I would imagine that's modern day warfare. So watching this, it just seems very outdated, the way they go to war. And it's not serious war. Russia's not having a serious war. It's all for media. It's like the entire world's watching this and the media are talking about it, but no one is really saying, why is this war so outdated? How come it's not being seriously play out like a real war? And that's because it's just a cat and mouse game. It's all for TVs, for media. It's to put fear in people. And I don't believe that Russia is going to drop a nuclear bomb. They're not. It's not a good look. It's not effective. And it's just talk. Just talking about it is putting so much fear into people. It's like their mind is being manipulated by another source of intelligence that's kind of putting them in a mass psychosis, or at least putting the people into mass psychosis. The mindset of being in fear. That's all this is. It's just putting people in fear. I mean, there are people dying out there. There are people dying. But this war should have been over by now if Russia was serious. If this was serious, this war would have been over by now. So they're prolonging this, putting fear into people. Like I always tell you guys, the gang stalkers are in charge of this world. And one of the abilities they have is to get into the minds of the people. And they become powerful when the people have fear. So this is working exactly for the gang stalkers. Now, if you would like to join in on this live stream, that would be great. But that's how I see it. I don't see World War III happening. I see a lot of fear being placed into the people, into the media. And pretty soon, they're probably going to talk peace, and Russia's going to get their trade route, and Ukraine's going to lose all those land that Russia wants, and they're going to be owing a lot of debt to the U.S. It's really messed up how it have to go down. But Ukraine don't want to be with Russia, and Russia don't want Ukraine to go to NATO, and that's what happened. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys think there's going to be a World War III in the next 5 to 10 years? Let me see here. Yeah, Russia feels like flexing its muscle. Yeah, I mean, I'm just shocked that the way they go to war is just so outdated. It's really outdated. I've seen hundreds of drones flying in a video in formations. Imagine each one of those drones is like a little bomb and just flies to its destination, the coordinates, and just blows up. I mean, that to me feels like it's 21st century modern day warfare. Not with people and machine guns and semi automatic rifles standing behind a tree, you know, hiding behind a tank. It's like that to me just seems so outdated. But enough of that. Um, let's see. The Chinese and Russia both were shadowing a U.S. Coast Guard vessel off. Oh yeah, that happens practically every day. I mean, I don't know if it's still going on, but I've heard for years now that the Russians and the Chinese, they have submarines just right off the Pacific, uh, in the Pacific Ocean, really close to the U.S. Coastal borders, and just ready to go. And what's going to happen? Are they really going to do something about it? No, and I hope not, because if something like that happens, oh man, it's going to be dark days ahead. Let's just say Russia do drop a nuke, okay, in U.S. soil, on U.S. soil. The U.S. going to retaliate. So are the U.S. going to drop one nuke to retaliate, or is the U.S. going to drop two nukes? If U.S. drop two nukes, Russia's going to drop another nuke. So it's like, it's going to be dark days ahead if that happened. And I don't believe that's going to happen. There are more effective ways to wage war against a country than to drop nukes. It's like when I go to the store, I get followed by police and gang stalkers. Okay. Oh, that would be interesting, Count Marsh. Would you like to join in on this live stream? I want to talk to you about that. I think that'd be great if you join in. Or any TI wants to join in. Okay. See, when you said you get followed by the police and gang stalkers, first let's get to some solution, okay? Solutions are on this. How serious is it when they follow you? Okay, let's say they follow you. Okay, you can't really stop them from following you. Let's say they're following you. Are you doing anything illegal at the time when they're following you? Because if you're not doing anything illegal, then the solution for you would be just don't give a shit if they follow you. That really is the solution, because what can you do about it if they follow you, right? I'm in a very okay. Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay. Okay, well, okay, so you are okay, but at the time when you see them following you, are you doing something illegal? Like, are you carrying something or whatever? But you don't have to say anything. But even let's just say you were carrying something illegal for because you're ex-felon. Well, then that alone will actually put some kind of like a mental fear inside your mind, because you shouldn't carry certain things in the car and you're driving. So that alone is going to put fear in you. And if you have to do that, I don't know your situation. If you have to bring whatever you need to bring with you, and you feel like the police are following you and the gang stalkers are following you while you're traveling in your car with something in the car that you shouldn't be traveling with, then that's just kind of on you to make you put yourself in that mentality, kind of like nervous mentality, But even though you're an ex-felon, but you're traveling and you have nothing illegal in your car, and you see the gang stalkers following you, and police are following you, then just don't give a shit about them, because you got nothing illegal in the car and you're not breaking the law. So the only thing you can do is just to not give a shit about them. I mean, you're just gonna need to drive to wherever you need to go, and that's all you gotta do. Don't speed, don't do anything that'll make them pull you over. And that's all you can do. I mean, that's really all you can do. And it helps you relax a bit too, knowing that. No, I don't do anything, just shopping. See, exactly. When you're just shopping and you're not doing anything, or you're not carrying anything illegal, and you notice the police are following you, and maybe next to the police car there's a gang stalker, in a different car following you, let them follow you. Who cares? You're not breaking the law. Just relax. See, a lot of TIs, I noticed, at least from my experience, I wasted a lot of time thinking in my mind, thinking about all these negative thoughts, and what if this happened, what if that happened. And the what if thoughts is always negative. It's always negative. And I was trapped in this state of mind for hours on end, just hours and hours throughout the day, thinking negatively. Any little creative thought I would get in my head, I would also think about creative solution to them. But these creative solutions are not practical. Kind of like, oh, if this happened, what would I do? How can I get out of this situation? If this happened like this, what can I do to get out of it? So all those situations are just what if situation, and the solution are also what if solutions. But those situations don't happen in real life. I mean, maybe it happens to some TIs out there, but for the majority of TIs, those thoughts, those what if situation in their mind don't happen that way. So I realized, for me, I wasted so much of my life and energy thinking about all those things. And at the end of the day, I'm still at home just doing the same thing, and then go to sleep and wake up and go to work the next day. So just on repeat. So I just wasted so much of my energy throughout the day thinking about all those negative stuff. And if you're a TI for many years, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. There are days when we just think so negatively and always worried about what's going to go down, but we're still here. If you think back on it, okay, if you sit back and just think back on those days, those moments where you're just stressing out, freaking out, worrying about people spying on you, all this stuff, worry about someone following you, might try to hurt you. If you think back on those moments, what happened? Most likely nothing happened, right? We still went home, we still ate dinner, do what you need to do, go to sleep, and now we're still here. But it's like a cycle that needs to break. A lot of TIs need to snap out of it and break out of that cycle, because I was in that cycle for years. Everywhere I go, I was strapped. I wouldn't leave the house unless I brought my piece with me. And what I was doing was illegal in California. I did not have a concealed carry permit, but I felt like my life was in danger every single day. So whenever I leave the house, I just felt like today could be the day something bad would happen. And I would always hope that I will not get into one of those situations where I need to pull out my piece and defend my life. I don't want those situations to happen. And thank God those situations never happened, because I was carrying with me illegally everywhere I went for years. So all those moments I was tripping, nothing happened. And yes, it's true. It's better to have it than not to have it. That's a fair argument. But I'm just saying in general, all those stress, all those days of stress, nothing happened. I'm still here. So TIs need to break out of that funk, break out of that negative mentality. And watching local news, having a new hobby, that will help. Those are two good starts. Locals cover up my attempted murder by hit and run. Interesting. Covered up attempted murder. They buzz me with police and fire EMS sirens constantly. Okay, that's a very common one with a lot of TIs, right? See, for me, I never experienced that phenomenon, so I don't have the experience to really share with you guys. But I know it's very uh, is a very high occurrence in the TI community for TIs to go through this EMS, fire truck, police siren harassment. And the solution for that, really the solution for that is just to, if you think about it, okay, you know they're gang stalkers and you know they're messing with you, okay? We can all agree on this. The gang stalkers are messing with us. And yes, we are all pissed off and we want to, if we know who they are, we want to take revenge on them. Or even if you believe you know who they are, you still can't do anything about it because you know if you do something, you would most likely get caught and go to prison. So you're smarter than that. So if you know who they are and you can't really do much about it, so what solutions do you have? I mean, some might say, okay, collect evidence, collect data on them until you feel comfortable and maybe bring it up to get a lawyer or go to the police or whatever. Okay, that's fine if that's what you're doing. But what are you going to do during that time as you're collecting evidence? The best thing you can do is to not give a shit. That's really is the easiest way to go about it. You know who they are. You believe you know who the gang stalkers are. You know you can't do anything to them, otherwise you're going to go to prison. And I don't recommend you to go murdering people like Stephen Marlowe. And what can you do other than to not give a shit? If you can train your mind to not give a shit and don't care about what they're doing, because what they're doing is somewhat, your power is limited. I mean, you can do what you can do. For instance, maybe moving out of the area or going somewhere else or not even thinking about them. Just try to change your mind to think about something more happy and positive. You can only control what you do as a TI, as a person. So my experience is just to not give a shit. I see a siren drive by. Well, I didn't go through that situation. So I would recommend if you are going through that, you see sirens and you think they're harassing you with noise, get some earplugs. You know those earplugs for music, you know, like the band, you know, like if you're in a band, you have these little soft earplugs. Just get some of those and plug your ears when you go outside. If you feel like every day you go outside, you're getting noise harassment. And yes, you can still hear the siren, but then you need to start practicing on breaking that thought pattern. You need to start practicing breaking out of it. Because every time, okay, right now, if you believe you're getting those harassment, your mind's already trapped in this cycle, okay? At some point, you need to break out of it. Because let's be honest here, okay? You can't stop police sirens, you can't stop fire sirens, fire truck sirens, you can't stop EMS sirens, okay? They are going to be there regardless. There's nothing you can do to stop them. How can you stop all the sirens? You can't. Okay? We can all agree on it. You can't. So what options are there? Well, the next option is to break that cycle. Whenever you hear the sirens, you need to start telling your mind to not focus on it. Okay. And what I mean by this is, okay, as soon as you hear the siren, okay, automatically you're going to start thinking, oh, they're harassing you. Okay. You can't control it. It's automatic. That's the first thought that comes into your mind. Now, once that thought comes into your mind, the most important part here is what you're going to do afterwards. So you see a siren, you hear the siren, the thought comes in, oh, they're harassing you with noise campaign. So that takes about, let's say, 3 seconds in your head, okay? After that 3 seconds, how it comes into your mind, you need to put a stop to it. Put a stop to it and change that thought to something else. Because a lot of TIs, what they do is they hear the noise campaign, they'll start thinking about it for 3 seconds, but then they'll keep thinking about it for the next 20 minutes. You see what I'm saying? From 3 seconds thinking about gang stalking and noise harassment to now, 20 minutes later, still thinking about it. Maybe not about the noise campaign, but then it's about all these different gang stalking related thoughts. Okay. And it puts you in this really grumpy mood, puts you in this really depressed mood. You're just not as happy as before, okay? Before the siren. So, well, based on what I just said, you need to put a stop to it after you get the initial thought of noise harassment. Stop yourself from thinking further into it. Just stop it. And you can do it. It will take you time. Okay? So don't rush it. Each time that happens, and if you can catch yourself and be aware and stop your mind from thinking about it and change the thought to something more positive, or don't get stuck with gang stalking, over time, you're going to notice it. You're going to break out of it. Those sirens is no longer going to bother you because you have taken away its power. Its power over you. You have just broke that spell or that fear, okay? And that's one of the fear. And I always talk about no fear mentality. So that's only one of the fear. I mean, there's fears can come in so many different forms. If you have all these different fears, you're gonna have to break every single one of them. You have to break every single one of them. And some will take longer than others. Some are easier to break. But if you keep these fears in your mind, it's too much. It's too much. You need to help yourself, and you're going to have to start doing this, okay? You're going to have to start doing this. Okay, I've been dealing with this going into 7 years. Exactly, 7 years, and you're still here. You're still here, so that's a good thing. Now, if you think back on it, I don't know how many hours of your life you actually spent worrying about these different situations. Now you're still here. So thinking back on it, did you really need to worry about those situations? Did you really need to spend all those hours on those situations? I mean, I'm sure you could probably figure out maybe a good portion of those hours you spent on this topic. You could have just used those hours doing something else. Okay, well, what makes you say that, EK? Because I want to hear it. I mean, you have your own opinion. That's fine. But what did I say just now? That doesn't make sense. Like, for instance, what are you gonna do about the sirens? How are you gonna give me a solution? I want to talk about a solution. So if you feel like the sirens or noise campaign, give me a good solution. How are you gonna stop the sirens from making you feel like, oh, they're not noise campaign anymore? How are you gonna stop the siren? Tell me. I just want to know. You're welcome to join in. You know, I just want to have open chat. This is great. I'm broke until the 15th, but once I get my check, I will be hiring a lawyer to subpoena YouTube for your info and will be suing you and other perps. I welcome that, Targeted Tony. I know what I know. Go ahead. If you want to do that, if that will make you feel better, if that will help you, please do. Please do. Find a good lawyer though, because there are a lot of bad lawyers out there, and a good lawyer will win the case for you, and a bad one will just take all your money. So find a good one. I'm out of here just giving you a heads up. Well, thank you, Targeted Tony. Thank you. I'll be waiting for the letter. I just pray about it and live my life to the best of my ability. Excellent. Excellent. That is, I mean, that is really all you can do. And as soon as you start breaking out of these cycles, breaking out of these funks, you're gonna notice life is just so much easier now that you no longer care about those sirens. You no longer care about the people in public. You no longer care about the police car that drives by, or the one headlights, or the plane, or any sounds and noise from your neighbors. You're gonna feel so much better. But if you're gonna keep any one of those, like for instance, your neighbor making sound outside, if you're gonna let that bother you, it's not gonna be a good feeling. You know what I mean? Like just that feeling alone, it's not a good feeling. I'm not talking about if they're wrong or not, okay, or you're right or wrong, whatever. I'm just talking about just in that situation alone. It's that feeling. It's just not a good feeling, to think, oh, the neighbors are making noise again. Okay, even though, let's say they are wrong, okay, it's past 11 p.m., whatever. It's just not a good feeling. And yes, you can call the police and have them come over and shut them down. If that makes you feel better, do it. Do it. But if it's past 11 p.m. and the neighbors are making a lot of noise and you don't call the police and you're just sitting there stressing over it and not doing anything about it, then it's just a bad feeling that's kind of stuck. You know what I'm saying? So it's imagine that your neighbors are playing music past 11 p.m., but you don't even care because you're probably doing something like watching TV or listening to headphones, whatever, working in the garage on some project, whatever. You're not even focusing on that. Then that stress wouldn't even come in. You know what I'm saying? But if you have sensitive ears and you do hear the sound, it's past 11 p.m., then okay, then now you have the right to call the police and have them come and kind of warn them to have them shut it down. Then do that. If that makes you feel better, do it. Because you're not breaking the law. Okay. Let's see here. Brandon Q. Tony, you are a joke. Well, I don't think Tony was joking. I think he was serious, Brandon. I think he's really serious about getting the lawyer and subpoena YouTube and get our information. You can't afford a lawsuit. Well, I really don't know how much it's going to cost, but who knows? I mean, I maybe Tony's got a lot of money. Who knows? Tony, you are a Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. That's sad. See, here's the thing. I know Tony says he's not, and Brandon, you kept saying he is because of the sheriff tattoo. And I mean, for me, I would want to see some type of documentation, or some pay stub or something, or seeing him in a sheriff's car driving or something, right? Or his badge with his name on it, something, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, that tattoo thing to me, it's okay. I see your point. Yeah, like you were talking about last time, how if you were, um, if you're a prisoner at war, and let's say you're from Ukraine, and then you have Ukraine tattoo inside your lips, and the Russians, capture the soldier, and the soldier's like, no, I'm not part of the Ukraine army. No, I'm not. Even though there's Ukraine tattoo inside the lips, yeah, no one's gonna believe that person. I totally understand your point, what you're saying there. But I mean, Tony said he's not. He was going through the hiring process, and I mean and I didn't put any time into researching this. Okay, so I'm just gonna take his word for it that he's not a sheriff. But if you're gonna keep saying that he is part of the sheriff, then maybe you have put in the time to research into this, because I'm not going to. 13 years for me. They increase torture over time. It's not worrying. It's just grueling. Okay. So a solution. Do you want to explain further about? Okay, increased torture. What are one of the torture? I mean, let's talk about it. I would like to know about your situation. We all have triggers. I just keep moving forward. It's like the movie 13 Ghosts. I've seen that movie twice, and I thought it was pretty good, but I still can't remember the details. Yes, we do have triggers. Even I myself have triggers. I mean, my triggers is sometimes get into arguments with my wife. It's usually over the same stuff. It's just these little triggers that just gets to me, and we all have it. And it's easier said than done, but if you can recognize your triggers, and the next time that trigger is happening right in front of you, if you can, at that moment, as soon as you recognize it's happening, if you can have that thought and remember to do the opposite, to not allow it to trigger you, you're going to feel so much better. And it will take practice, but you can get better at it. And with that being said, it's not like to go and look for the trigger and try to practice. No, I'm not saying that, but at the moment, if you can recognize it and stop yourself, that's a lot of power. Gang stalking is very trivial when they start torturing you. Once that happens, you can laugh at the stalkers. The directed energy is what ruins a life. Okay, directed energy. Are they currently attacking your lower back or your neck or top of your head, your temple, your side of your head? Some people get it inside their ears. Speaking of ears, during winter time, the inside of my ears would hurt really bad. During wintertime, okay, the inside of my ears. I noticed this maybe about 5-6 years ago. And the only solution that I thought of at the time was just to get a piece of tissue, break into two, and just plug my ears. And it works. Like I could attack on the bottom of my feet. When I was riding the electric unicycle, I felt like my calves and my bottom of my feet was being attacked because it was really heavy and it's starting to hurt. And that's also the same time, after a few minutes of that, my electric unicycle malfunctioned. It wouldn't slow down. It just kept going faster and faster. It would not slow down. And my calves was hurting, and my bottom of my feet was also feeling this pain. So I know they were attacking me. I know the machine kept going. It's have something to do with these gang stalkers, the energy weapon or the energy attack like you're talking about. Can I prove it? No. But can I feel it? Yes, I felt it. I felt the difference. I felt this energy. Definitely, it's different. But if for a person that's never experienced this, they would just think this is crazy talk. But I know it's not crazy talk. police run the whole program. Never call Satan and ask him for help. Well, I, I, I have no experience with that, so maybe the police are, but I believe the gang stalkers are the one controlling the police. That's why the police are involved because, like I said, the gang stalkers controls the world. The gang stalkers control every government out there. Every government. The gang stalkers are advanced. They're more powerful. Now, on the positive note, I always tell you guys that TIs are special. TIs are special. Why? Because we can communicate with the gang stalkers. You see what I'm saying? The gang stalkers are advanced. The gang stalkers control all the governments. And TIs, we're special because we can communicate with them. Does that make sense? It's way higher up than the local police. It's the military, NSA, CIA, FBI. Police just direct the local stalkers. The gang stalkers control all those departments. All of them. The gang stalkers controls this world. What does that mean? Now, when I say gang stalkers control this world, what does that mean? That's some powerful stuff, right? And they are that powerful. If you look around, maybe you start digging around, there's only a few options out there, okay? There's only a few options. You probably can figure this part out, but there's only a few options out there. Fusion centers is literally all the alphabet agency in addition to the police. Fusion center, I'm not going to say there's none. I'm sure there are. And are they part of the gang stalking? Sure, why not? It's all working to the benefit of the gang stalkers. The gang stalkers control it all. My head. Yes. Okay, so I know some TIs, they would wear foil hats. I myself have done that before, but my experience with that is the foil hats are too thin. Too thin. You need to wear something thicker. Okay, you can wear those Faraday hats, beanie hats. I bought some off of Amazon. I bought different qualities, some more expensive than others. I think the most expensive one, a hoodie I bought, was just a hoodie. Okay, I think it was like $80. It didn't do anything. Like, I didn't feel any difference. But does it work? Will it work? Does it do anything? I'm sure it has some effect, okay? Even putting a hoodie on can help you a little bit. What I find was most effective is using a hair blower, a hair dryer, a blower. Just use that, just point that at your hair, for a little bit on hot. That feels so much better. Now, can you bring this everywhere you go? Of course not. But like I said, you can feel the heaviness on your head when you're getting attacked, let's say above your head. Next time, if you notice you're getting heavy attack, like even right now, if you just get your hand, open palm, and you just kind of swing around the upper part of your head, okay? Not hitting your head, but above your head. Swing around that air. You might notice it's very dense, like resistance, like something's above your head, like focus above your head, and you can feel it in your palm whenever you swing your hand. And after a while, that resistance will actually disappear, as if you was able to swing it away. You kind of like fan it away. Give that a try. Whenever you feel like you're getting attacked on your body, somewhere, let's just say you're on your dick area, okay, on your crotch area. Swing around that area, not hitting yourself, okay, not hitting yourself at all, but just swing around the area, maybe a foot away from your body, just swing around that air. You just might feel that strong resistance. And once you recognize that it's resistance, then you're going to start figuring something else is going on here. That's going to connect the dot for you. Because you're swinging that air, there shouldn't be resistance. And that resistance feels kind of like you brush your hand in a swimming pool. If you're in a swimming pool and you just kind of like brush your hand in the water, you feel the resistance. It's just like that, but not as strong as the swimming pool. But you can feel the resistance on your palm. I recognized this when one day I came home from work and I was getting heavy attack. And I turned around facing this corner and I did uppercuts. I did 3 uppercuts. And each uppercut, I felt the resistance. And then the 4th uppercut, the resistance was gone. So the first 3 with resistance, the 4th uppercut, it was just nothing, just empty air or something. So that just made me connect the dot of what is going on. How come the first 3 uppercut was so heavy with the resistance? And then the 4th uppercut was just so light and empty, as if there was something was there and then it disappeared. So ever since that day, that's when I connected the dot. Can I actually disrupt whatever's around me, whatever that's attacking my body? And it's true till this day. It's very true. 1 second, I have an incoming call. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, everybody. My wife needed the key. I had to give her the key. But so what was I saying? Okay, so the resistance. So next time, if you feel like you got headaches, okay, headaches on your head, go ahead and try that. Just fan it. Use your hand, open palm, just fan above your head, and see if you can feel the resistance. And if you're gonna wear some type of hat, preferably something thicker. But the thicker the material means it's also heavier on your head. So that might not be comfortable for you. Let's go next one. Brain. Okay, brain, like inside your skull. Inside your 1 second, guys. Okay, sorry, everybody. So your brain, meaning inside of your skull. What works for me with that, it's the easiest one for me is just to plug my ears using 2 fingers. Okay, plug both of my ears and then do the hum. Plug my ears and hum, kind of like doing like chants. Close your eyes and do that. Instantly, you're gonna feel so much better. And if you're gonna do that for 5 minutes, you're gonna feel like your head is just so much lighter now. And it works. And if you don't want to do the humming, I have a massager, okay? This handheld massager. I just put that on my forehead. I just lie back, put it on my forehead, and just let it massage my forehead. I mean, this thing looks kind of like those. You ever seen those eye patches where people put on when they go to sleep that covers their eyes? So it's kind of like that, but it's a massaging device. So I put that on my forehead and just close my eyes and just let it massage my head for maybe 10 minutes and I feel better. But if you're out and about, plugging your ears and humming works for me. Actually, mine is handled by the local corrupt law enforcement who covers hit and runs. Yeah, you mentioned this hit and run. You want to share the detail? That would be interesting. Uh, so did you get into trouble with the hit and run? Like, did they try to uh, did they prosecute you with attempted murder or something like that? You mentioned attempted murder. Cal Marsh exposed them to the city council. Call out your police chief. I did that. Interesting. So what happened when you called out your police chief? What did the city council member said? I'm curious to know what happened there. Tiger Suit Tony. Oh, really? Did that really happen? I never heard of that one. That's what? How did that go? How? Yes, I may be chipped or it's nanotech. Deliberating pain. Cannot see when it's happening. Okay, well, we're talking about solution here. So if you believe you're chipped, that's a very once that thought gets into your mind, okay, these every one of these are thoughts, okay, and ideas. And let's be fair, okay, your idea of you got chipped, okay, that's got to be a negative thought, correct? We can all agree it's a negative thought. Being chipped is a negative thought. To me, it's a negative thought. So once that thought gets into your head and it's preventing you from reaching the no fear mentality. So for you to reach that no fear mentality, you must break that thought. So how can you break that thought? Well, you believe you're chipped, you're going to have to go to some type of body scan, some type of x-ray or whatever they do, those machines, where you kind of, where they scan your whole body, MRI, whatever. You're going to have to do that. Because if you don't do that, that thought is going to be in your head for a long time. It's going to be one of those question marks. You have to find out if it's true or not. And if you look up TIs that are talking about being chipped, some TIs already go out of their way to try to figure this out and they can't find anything. But you will still not feel satisfied unless you yourself go do it on your own. So you're going to have to one day, if you have time, or I don't know how much it'll cost, but you're going to need to research it and you're going to need to tackle that thought. Because if you're going to let that thought stay there in your head, it's going to prevent you from reaching that no fear mentality. And that's a serious thought, because that thought alone will kind of can lead into many other areas. Like, oh, now you're chipped. That's why everywhere you go, they can follow you. Now that you're chipped, that's why whatever you try to think of, they know. Now that you're chipped, that's why anything you try to plan, they already know your plans. You see how that thought can actually branch off into so much more. So it's like one of those seed. That thought is like a seed that's been blossomed. You must go find out if that's true or not for your own good. You have to. And the nanotech, I mean, same thing. You're going to have to research it and try to go find what you need to do to get yourself scanned and see if they can detect that object. If you say nanotech, if there's nothing out there that can help identify these nanotech, then that's going to be a tough hurdle for you. And if you really want a solution to that, that's even further, one above that, it's to not give a shit. That really is just probably the best one and the easiest one, is to find it within you to not give a shit. But then since you say you have pain, right? It's creating pain in your body. And whenever they attack you, you can't help but to think back on the nanotech. So it's like a hurdle now that it's going to be tough for you. And the solution to that is just to try to minimize the attack, right? If you can minimize some of those physical attacks, because I still get physical attack, but except I know it's close to my body, and I know by not staying in the same spot, moving around, having fan on, right, moving air, um, using my audios, with some frequency generator player on, having my audios on, wearing a thicker clothing, when I'm at home, um, fanning, the area that I feel like I'm being attacked. I mean, all these different things helps minimize the attack. I mean, you're just gonna have to start doing that, and give it some time. Over time, you're gonna get better at it. But one of the most important way to slow down your body from being deteriorated is get a steam room. If you can have the money to buy somehow, get a steam room and also have a hot tub. If you can use both of those regularly, maybe 3-4 times a week, that will help your body so much. Drink plenty of water and go to sleep, so your body can recover. Like, having a steam room and a hot tub is going to help you so much. But not many people have those, and not many TIs have both of those. And not just sitting a hot bath is good, better than nothing, but a hot tub is consistent, 104 degrees. Sit in a hot tub for like 30 minutes, consistent heat. I mean, that's different than just sitting in a hot bath where the temperature kind of goes down over time. Herbert, understand there's no reasoning with Satan. Yeah, that's true. And you can't reason with Satan because Satan is the best at tricking people. And the reason for that is because Satan can play the good guy and the bad guy. That is why. Satan don't just play the bad guy. Satan is really good at playing the good guy as well. Satan is good at the good guy, bad guy game. And Satan have no shame in pretending to be the loser. So if you're receiving V2K, okay, the gang stalkers will make up lies like, oh, they lost. The gang stalker will say they lost and call you the winner, the TI. But that's just words, because you know why? Because they are still there messing with the TI. So the saying is like, oh, you won. And 2 minutes later, oh, still they're attacking the TI. Going back to the same cycle, right? If you're receiving V2K, you know what I'm talking about. So that's a deception. It's a lie. It's not over until you don't hear them anymore. It's not over until you really feel like they're gone. And they have gone off of me. And when they're off of me, everything just feels so much more clear. Like my head is not as clouded, not as heavy. My eyes, my vision are more sharp. And everything looks like high definition. They have done that to me. And then when they cling back onto me, my vision instantly went from HD to less, okay? Just to less. And everything just seems kind of not as focused. And I feel kind of like a little bit heavier head. Like the head's a little bit heavy. So it's not over, even though they tell you it's over, because they're still there messing with you. And that's what Satan can do. Make up lies. I agree. I believe these people are already damned, but we're not supposed to condemn. Curse is the man who strikes his neighbor in secret. Curse is the man who accepts money to kill. Yeah, that's true. And I believe whenever you cause pain to another person, it's not good for you. It's not good for you. And if someone's causing pain to you, it's not good for them. I mean, what can you do, right? But this is where it comes down to this fine line of playing this game. Okay, there's this game going. If you think about all this, it's like a game, a very evil game. It's an evil game, and you got to be the good person, and you don't want to hurt people, but then you also believe that, oh, the people are doing it to you, so you want to retaliate, but then you also believe that they're trapping you, right? So if you go retaliate, then you are the one that's going to get in trouble. And you already know this. That's why you're not doing it. So it's like you're being put into this game, and you're going to have to figure a way out of it. You need to figure a way to change the situation in your life. And I don't want to generalize with advice here, because we all have our different experience, and we all have our different situation. So only you know what to do. And I mentioned this before. It's your battle. No one can do this battle for you. Just you have to go through this battle on your own. And it's a game. It is a game. They never responded, but he did quit about a year ago. They never responded. Who? I think I lost track here. What exactly are we talking about here? About a year ago. Who quit? I was the victim of a hit and run. Oh, that's unfortunate. Sorry to hear that. And let me guess, you try to get surveillance camera, and the police are saying they don't have any. I'm not afraid. It's just pain. I am just guessing that is how they do it. No fear at all about it. That's good. That's a great mentality. There are days when I'm just kind of stressed out because things just aren't going my way. And these gang stalkers also messing around. V2K. And from my experience, I have, different hobbies. If I just kind of drop everything and just go spend some time on that hobby, I feel so much better. Or if I'm just drop everything and just go sit down in the shade, just sit down and relax, or even close my eyes, I feel so much better. There are days when I'm just feel like things need to be done, but it's just not getting done. And I want answers, but there's no answers. It's just so frustrating. And I'm just feel like I need to do something and just not doing it fast enough. You know that feeling like, oh man, I need to do this, but it's not fast enough. I don't have the time to do it. I'm running out of time to do it, or something like that. That feeling. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I realized when I get that feeling, I told myself, there are things that just can't be fixed in one day. When I'm feeling stressed like that, I just go and sit down, or go and start doing the hobby that I like. And that instantly made me feel better. Just got to relax. Sitting down in the shade, relaxing, works every time for me. And after 20, 30 minutes, I'm ready to go at it again. Seriously, like that's all it takes. Because that 20, 30 minutes is what I needed to change my mind, to calm my mind down. Because my mind was what's really going off, like telling me, making me feel like, oh man, I need to get this done. I need to do it now. I don't have the time to do it. I need to get this done. I need this fixed. I need the answer now. I need to find the answer. I need to do it. So with that 20, 30 minutes of sitting down, that's what I needed to calm my mind. And now I'm ready to go at it again, but feel better going at it again. City council, police chief. Oh, that's the person that hit you? Whoa. That is serious stuff. And they didn't stop for you, and they actually left the scene. They actually fled the scene. That is serious stuff. And did he ever get fired? Like, what happened there? Did you take him to court? What's going on with that? That is serious. And how'd you know it's the police? You saw the car and you saw the person and you found out that person is the police chief. See, that's why this is so much better to just talk over the chat, live chat instead of text. But since your connection's bad, it's fine. So yeah, I mean, the best thing to do as a TI until you get answers is to really practice relaxing yourself. A lot of this sensations and feeling we're getting, it's not because of us. It's caused by these gang stalkers. See, if you think about directed energy weapon, okay, I'll play a video for you guys next time. So there's this guy named Master Chia, okay? He does he teaches Tai Chi and all this stuff here on YouTube. And he wrote a lot of books, okay? And he's pretty popular. He's Master Chia. And he has a strong following, people that actually fly over to where he's located. I think he's in Thailand or somewhere. I think maybe it's Thailand. I can't remember which country, Singapore or somewhere. They actually fly to his home country and actually attend his his like special like classes and stuff doing Tai Chi. So I watched a video. He talked about how our major organs, right? If you actually focus a lot of energy on certain organ or attacking certain organ, each one of those organs actually changes your mood. Some area will actually make you aggressive. It makes you angry and easily like triggered. Some will make you feel depressed, and some will make you feel sad. Like all these emotion, it triggers your emotion. It's strange. So imagine these directed energy weapon, right? Like we're talking about directed against your head, right? Your brain and your head. So imagine they use that and direct it on your organs, like your abdominal areas, right? Which I do get those. And I'm sure all TIs that recognize directed energy, you get abdominal pains, you feel it. You can feel it on your abdominal, your lower back, right? The right side of your obliques. Like you feel it. I mean, TIs sometimes will get it, on their balls, like their left balls, right? Your left testicle, your right testicle, you can feel it. Over time, you can feel it. Like there's something they're attacking you. You know how I know it's attacking you? Because, like I said, if you fan your hand, right? You feel you're getting attacked. You fan the area. You feel that resistance. But as you're fanning it away, I notice that pain goes away as well. That's how I connected the dot, that it's not just my body getting old or whatever. There is another force, something else attacking me. And by me fanning the area, I was able to get it out of the way, and I no longer feel pain in the area. But once I stop, give it a minute or two, they'll come right back. You see what I'm saying? That's why I always tell you guys, your gang stalkers is always next to you. They are always next to you. And the only way to repel them is to jump yourself into the ocean, into the water. But as soon as you get out of the water, they'll jump right back onto you. You see how messed up that is? That is why what led me to classes to get certified in scuba diving. Okay, I'm certified scuba diver. And water repels them. So maybe you can think of why I went that route, okay? But till this day, I have to tell you, my plan was to go scuba diving with one of those handheld underwater, like a scooter, right? You can hold on to it, just kind of like move along through the water. My goal is to do that, get into the water, use the scooter, and go along the coast, maybe who knows which direction, right? Because I can go left, I can go right. I can go 2 miles to the left, or I can go 1 mile to the right. So just pick a direction, go with the underwater scooter, and then pop my head out of the water, go to shore, and catch an Uber, and go to the airport and fly home or something. You see. I mean, it sounds kind of crazy idea, right? But that's how far I have thought of ways to get rid of these gang stalkers. And that is still one thing that I have not yet done, even though I'm certified scuba diving, because, well, I have a family and it's hard for me to just fly somewhere and just do that by myself. But the thought is there in my head, though. Maybe I don't need to do it. Maybe one day we can someone out there will figure it out. But that is still a thing that's in my head that I still want to try. But it's still possible to try, because I've seen it with my eyes. Water is what repels them. Water is what pushes them out. But if you're going to pop yourself back out of the water in the same spot you went into the water, they're going to come right back onto you. Hint. That's why I want to go a couple miles down the coast and pop up somewhere else. If you think I'm talking nonsense or you don't know what I'm saying, then it's all good. It's all good. This is open chat. But it's almost 6 o'clock and I'm going to have to get ready for dinner. So thank you guys for joining me. I was hoping someone will join in on the live chat, but it's fine. Maybe next time. I welcome you. And maybe in a few days, I will do another live stream. So until then, be safe. Thank you for listening. No fear. Shimon signing out.